Well, you're not muted on stream. They can hear you right now. Yep. Yep. I'm forcing Beckers to participate.
It's peer pressure.
You know how many people are going to be watching? 2 people. And I'm not even making the video public.
Take an edible.
Like, there's going to be like 1 or 2 people on here over the next 2 or 3 hours that aren't even going to be paying attention. And I'm not making the video public. And if I do, I'll just take pieces that I edit out. Now we all have to take
drugs.
Good. But you should tune in too, so that you can hear the cool stuff. No. Making jungle. The sounds of your people.
Yeah, but the sound of doing it.
Huh?
Now I have to not fart.
Dude, so you can
many
fart.
Things I have to change.
Listen,
now about
listen,
my morning.
listen. I don't have to publish every single thing that I do. So just because we're like online, it's just so that people can enjoy the music. If you fart, you and I will hear it, and like maybe one person, if they're even around, if they even have the fucking cognizance to do so. And then I'm not making my videos don't publish to the public view automatically. I have to choose.
So I can embarrass myself.
You can fart as much as you want, and I can just be like, yes, I'm just not going to publish it. I'm already telling you that I'm not going to. So, and if I, misused your trust and then did publish it later, you could totally be justified in kicking ass or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's cool, man.
Well, hello, I'm Annias' friend. I supervise a government scheme where, certain people who need an adult.
Babysitting me.
Trusted.
I'm an alien and she's babysitting me.
Parole conditions.
I'm an alien. She's assigned to my case. She acts like she's my friend, but she's just fucking babysitting me. I know it.
I barely act like I'm your friend, though.
I know. You like put 0 effort in and still make it work. That's why they gave you this job.
You're a great pal. I tolerate you.
It's because you have that British charisma, like where you sound like you're just like intelligent and very endearing and regal and whatnot just by talking. It's like unfair.
Right.
Now I'd say like that works for almost all English. I think for like a real like waste man cockney kind of fucking attitude, I don't think it really benefits them so much.
No, there's a lot of English accents that just don't pull off the same.
But the Queen's English is so refined.
I think you'll find it's the King's English.
Oh, is it? I thought it was fuck. I guess it is.
I'm not even talking about King Charles, but that accent you're referring to.
I thought it was called the Queen's English.
King George.
I thought it was the Queen's English.
No, you could take it back to King George, where everybody was speaking like a BBC presenter.
Let's see. Well, do you have that like quintessential or do you have that quintessential like English news reporter voice thing?
Yes and no.
Because I do the same thing in America. I don't know if you've heard our news, but they send people to the Midwest to learn like look, you've been here long enough to notice. You got the Boston and New York, and you got the Southern drawl down there and all that shit. You got all these different accents, and then like in the Midwest, where I'm from, I've told you that this is America's version of like regular English. This is regular English without an accent. This is how we say things on the 6 o'clock news. You know what I mean? Like, I know that I have an accent because that's the way fucking the world works. We all do. But for whatever reason, your accent and my accent are the, like, de facto norm, quote unquote, whatever the fuck normal is supposed to be. Weird. I mean, like from like whoever they are, the powers that be, whatever. That's the one that they push as like regular English.
No, but the thing is it's all changed now. So this is what I was gonna say. Is it used to be that to be on the BBC you had to have the BBC accent and stuff. But now they realize that that's kind of discriminatory and actually
So there's a
it
wider yeah, there's a wider amount of different
yeah, and
accents I've
it's
noticed.
happening in voice artistry as well.
Or
So
they'll even have like,
they don't want people talking properly anymore for voice
oh, they don't want that
artistry.
regal
So
shit because it's like
basically,
kind of
now it's
it's
my
like
time to
condescending.
shine. Nobody
See,
fucking wants my skills. They want conversational, they want relatable, actual voices,
that makes sense.
you
Not
know.
just like the regal London
I
sound.
don't know. I'm old school. I still think that, you know, if you're selling something or you're narrating something, I think you should talk properly. You know, like I think you should talk clearly. I think you should have good diction. I think your inflections and emphasis and all that good stuff should be in the right places.
So yeah.
And now they're like, yeah, but he doesn't sound like me though. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, there's that's what I was saying with the Cockney thing on the guy side. It's like little accentuated um um what's the thing? It's like accentuated jargon for your like local slang.
Oh, well, I
You
mean,
know,
they
like
have their own code because, I mean, historically, the Cockneys were into all sorts of mischief and they obviously wanted the
right. So
police
they
to
got
not
all their
know what they
fucking
were
words
saying.
to like obfuscate what they're trying to actually say, so they can like talk around
Yeah, yeah,
people and
and it's
cops and shit.
evolved
Yeah.
because now London is a heavy influence, not just by the Cockney influence, but all the international influences
All the
that
other
they've
shit
had.
hybridized into it. Yeah, they
Yeah.
got the fucking and like I've noticed how much like Jamaican like
Oh, yeah, because
culture
we had the
affects.
whole Windfall generation and stuff, and
So what
there's a
happened was there's
heavy
like a bunch of
Caribbean
was there just
influence.
like a bunch of like Caribbean people that immigrated into England? How did that all happen? Because like
So, you know,
there's
England has a
such a
bit of a
strong Caribbean.
reputation for colonizing places.
Yeah, but what? And then just what they do? Break? Well, you guys didn't have slaves though,
Well,
so what they do?
as part of the deal, we take your country, and
Oh, they were
then
probably
you
marrying the
can.
women and shit and bringing them back.
Jesus, do you want the real answer? Or you just want to keep making up your own
Is that the real
fantasy?
answer?
No, that's not the real answer. You can't just keep inventing your own
Hey,
fantasies
I
when
know,
you
but
have a guest
just it's like
expert
playing
sat
Family
here.
Feud.
You know,
It's like playing Family Feud. Just fucking entertain me sometimes, okay?
look, no, it wasn't
Just be
about they
happy
were
every time you
marrying
can
our
prove me
women.
wrong.
Okay, no, any country that was under the it's not the Commonwealth, is it? What's it called? The British Empire. Any country that was under the
The
British
Empire,
Empire, they
the
are
Empire.
allowed to. You know, you are considered a British citizen, and you have
Okay,
rights to
so they could
into
freely
the
travel or
UK.
whatever.
Um,
Huh.
we allowed. I'd have to look into it because it's before my time and it's not taught in schools, which is because obviously if you're
Interesting.
in charge of deciding the curriculum for British schools, why would you tell them how naughty we've been? You know, let's just tell them that everything's great and the world loves us and
Oh yeah,
make us
like
look
how we
bigger on
fucked
the
everything.
maps, right?
I'm sure that you're taught that like, oh, we used. It's like the Germans teaching their kids about Nazis. You're like, oh yeah, we used to just destroy and take over everything, but now we're good. You know, it's mostly just about putting flags in the ground, guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's a coloring book, you know.
I love that Eddie Izzard shit. Oh, you don't have a flag?
It's well, but yeah, no, we you know, they were invited to come and move to the UK all legally and everything. It came into the news about, I don't know if it was like 5 years ago or something, because essentially what happened was all the paperwork from when this happened decades before
Yeah.
disappeared.
Oh,
So these you know, now elderly folk who are living in the UK legally started getting deported. You know, and we're talking about they've had children, they've had
when
grandchildren,
did this happen?
they're all British citizens. Recently, it was under Theresa May.
Like lots of your Caribbean were just citizens from other commonwealths.
Let's
Thank you for
Windrush. Here we
taking the
go.
time to share. Thank you for
Windrush
taking the time to
scandal.
share your culture with the fucking
Yeah,
dumbass
but now
Yanks.
you're
Okay, I
making
appreciate
me
it.
learn about shit, and I gotta
Yeah, but then we
fact
both
check what
learn.
I'm saying, and you
Well,
know, I
just
don't
use
live
Chad.
there anymore. They
Use
embarrass
Chad.
me with
Just
their
use
cup of
Chad.
teas and the
I mean, I could be
excessive
asking
binge
Chad all these things,
drinking.
but I'm enjoying asking Becky because your perspective is like both
Right.
like human and like
Here you
more
go.
interesting because your character.
I've just done some extensive research on Wikipedia for you. The
I can
British
tell by your accent.
Nationality Act of 1948 gave citizens of the United Kingdom and colonies status and the right of settlement in the UK to everyone who was at that time a British subject by virtue of having been born in a British colony. Did you see that wording? By
Was that
virtue of
was
having
that
been born.
is
Like,
that like them
lucky
like trying to
you.
is that like them trying to extend a hand out to all the people they've been fucking forever, saying, "Hey, we're not just about running over and taking over your shit. You're free to come here."
I mean, you could save your questions for the end if that's okay, because you'll
Thank you,
probably
ma'am.
find that
Yes,
they're
ma'am. Yes,
about to
ma'am.
be
Understood.
answered in the
Yes, ma'am.
upcoming.
Understood, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Um, the act and encouragement. You got to remember this. We needed
Yeah.
the workforce. Okay, the act and
Oh, they were trying to.
encouragement.
It's a labor pool.
I'll get through a sentence one day with you. One day. The act and encouragement from British government campaigns in Caribbean countries led to a wave of immigration. Between 1948 and 1970, nearly 500,000
Okay.
people moved from the Caribbean to
Ooh, that
Britain.
makes a lot. 500,000.
Half a million, yeah. So that's why
That's a
we have
lot.
such a huge Caribbean
Huge.
culture in
Yeah, that's
London
where
and
all the
stuff.
reggae fucking. That's where all the reggae fucking
And then we
past
got
place
ska
shit comes in.
music. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love
And
it.
it was
I trust me. I
beautiful.
love it.
It had a beautiful influence.
Yeah,
Um,
and that obviously built a bunch of ties in between your countries, like
yeah,
for good or for bad or whatever. Jamaica and the UK have like a lot more going for them than say like the UK and Paraguay.
right.
Like
And this was all spurred because of the severe labor shortage after the Second World War. Okay, so
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
we
yeah. I
killed off a
figured that
lot of
everybody
Dutch
was trying to pick up
people.
the
Yeah,
pieces,
we sent a lot of young men to their death. We won
and
the
you guys
war,
just needed
huzzah!
somebody to do some shit because everybody was dead. Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Um,
That's an interesting cultural, like that's an interesting like way like succession of things to happen. Like oh yeah, we did the big war, lots of people died. We got all these colonies. Like invite some of them back.
right. So here's where it starts to
Interesting.
go a little bit sour. Okay, so
Okay.
having a legal right to come to the UK, they neither needed nor were given any documents upon entry to the UK, nor following changes in immigration laws in 1970s.
So nobody
Okay,
really
so
did anything like logistically
they
to deal
weren't
with the influx
correctly
of people.
documented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They let them all come back, but nobody cared to do all the paperwork because it was like a
M-
rebuilding time and everybody was
Many
fucking.
worked or attended schools in the UK without any official documentary record of their having done so,
Okay.
other than the same records as any UK born citizen.
Huh.
Blah, blah, blah. Let me skip to the good part. So they were, because of the situation, they were automatically granted permanent, um, the right to permanently remain unless they left the UK for more than 2 years. So that's kind of a bit of a sting, because what we're saying is, yeah, you're a citizen, but if you leave the country for more than 2 years, you're not.
Don't come back.
Yeah, so basically, and that's kind of rude, because like when I become an American citizen, I can come and go as much as I want, as long as I'm still declaring my taxes. And the same, like, if somebody was to be a normal citizen of the UK, they don't lose it if they leave the country. If they're a citizen, that's lifelong. You can come and go as you please. But for some reason, their deal was a little bit shit. It was almost like, well, if we go, we want to clear the
Yeah, they
space
had like
out for
some. They
someone
had some
else.
limitations, and sure, they were almost like second class citizens.
Yeah.
By the way,
Um,
if you turn on the stream, you'll see I gave myself a haircut today. Like I took the beard off, and I
well, I
have like
can't
a
be
nice clean
watching the
shaven head.
stream and be doing
I know you.
this,
I know you can't. I was just letting you know. Well,
research
here,
for you.
here, 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 here. I'll do you
We
one
haven't
better.
even got to the bit where Theresa May's a bitch.
Here, I'll do you one better. Oh, so you're talking about the way that they decided to like extra fuck these people
So
at a
let's
later
fast
date.
forward to 2012. Okay. Theresa May is currently the Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, and she introduced the hostile
Is she?
environment policy.
She's the what? She's not the prime minister. Oh, when you're saying at the
Yeah,
time she was the prime minister. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, she's
I
Home
remember her.
Secretary at this point. She's not been
I
Prime
remember
Minister
her.
yet.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
She's so she's the Secretary for Immigration and people and
Oh,
stuff like something,
wonderful.
whatever the Home Secretary does. She introduced
Yeah.
the hostile environment policy, which I'm pretty sure she didn't name it that because that's just adding
That
insult to
doesn't sound good.
injury.
Doesn't
Yeah,
sound good.
straight away, you're getting a bad deal.
You know something's fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the measures that she introduced to make staying in the UK as difficult as possible for people without leave to
Without the
remain.
documentation, even though they knew.
Without this leave to remain, which means that you're a citizen, you can come in the hope that they may voluntarily leave. Okay. The aim in 2012, apparently, she is saying, and this is quoted here. The aim was to create, and I quote, a really hostile environment for illegal immigrants. Okay. Now that's
But not old ones.
right.
Not the ones that have like spent their whole life building your fucking country since World War II
It
and
was
their
all,
fucking descendants, but like
it was,
the new ones.
It was like, okay, we need you, come in. And then it's like, oh, hold
Oh.
on, we just remembered. We hate
Well,
immigrants.
do you
You're
think
gonna
do you think
have
that
to leave now.
do you think that they were doing it? Do you think they were doing it like that, or was it just like politicians being inept and
It's
ambiguous
the
and not protecting
Conservative
people?
Party. It's
Oh, so they were
it's
just
your
basically saying
version
"fuck
of the
you."
Trump campaign.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're
Just
like,
like get it. Yeah, yeah. Making
we've got
England
all these immigrants
ing
coming
again.
in here, stealing our jobs,
Make England ing
introducing
again.
culture to our country. How dare they? Let's make it difficult so that they all fuck off.
Oh my lord.
Because at this point we're still under the EU, so there's still like the EU Court of Human Rights and stuff. So
Huh.
they're trying to do these little backhand tactics to kind of, oh well, let's make it difficult for them so that they leave voluntarily, because that's a way around it. However, in 2013, the Home Office was warned that many of the Windrush generation residents were being treated as illegal immigrants and that older Caribbean-born people were being targeted. So they were actively targeting these Caribbean immigrants that we invited over because they did not have proper paperwork when they were invited over here. They had, so the Refugee and Migrant Center said their caseworkers were seeing hundreds of people receiving letters from Capita, which was a contractor on behalf of the Home Office, telling them that they had no right to be in the UK, and some of whom were told to arrange to leave the UK at once. And roughly half the letters went to people who already had leave to remain or were in the process of formalizing their immigration
Oh,
status.
so they were just like absolutely trying to fuck people no matter
Yeah,
what.
they were basically
That's
bullying
great.
them and
That's great.
threatening, and it'd be like Interpol turning up to me now saying you shouldn't be here, you should make arrangements to leave right now, and I'm like, well, but I'm in the process of, and they're like, don't give a like, they're not telling them their rights, they're not telling them,
Yeah.
that they
Okay.
maybe should like seek legal
So,
advice because
so
potentially
your
they might
people's
be undocumented and that could cause problems. They're just saying
so
you need to fuck off,
so they're that's
basically.
your like xenophobic people. I got you.
Mm.
Hey, I made a hat for this story. Look,
He
in
made
your
a
DM.
hat. Make England again. What? What does that even mean?
Because it's the land of ink. England's. Yeah,
Also
it's like
nice.
it's like where they make white people. England, the land of ink.
Get that fucking tobacco stick out of your mouth right now.
What? I'm smoking herb.
That goes against your
That's a
role.
picture. What if it's a joint?
You're not. It's not. Oh, it's. Hey, look. Your tobacco
I told you I
problem.
get a
It's not
haircut.
just hurting you. Hurting your family.
I'm
Hurting
trying to
your
put food on my
friends.
family.
Trying to put a table on my family.
That's the whole. You know that's what something George Bush says. So he's like, trying to help you put food on your family.
I'm bringing
It's
the
in his
home
like top
bacon.
10. That's in his top 10.
Yeah.
He was a, like all things considered, was like as bad as Trump was, right? Can we look back to like the comedic presidency of George Bush Jr. or whatever? Like, wasn't that just like, aside from 9/11 and like trying to like fuck the world over or whatever, wasn't that quaint?
Mm.
He was just he was like your silly grandpa that doesn't know how stupid he is. It was nice. Whereas Trump's like your asshole narcissist grandfather that knows exactly how stupid he is, and doesn't care.
Mm.
Although I don't know, do you think Trump thinks he's like smart?
Oh,
You think
absolutely. Yeah, when you have a god complex, you genuinely think that like
no
everything
one
that
has
comes
anything
out
to
of your
tell
mouth
you?
is correct. Like
He
because
so
he
he drinks his own Kool Aid, is what you're
oh,
telling me.
absolutely. He
Mm.
absolutely vehemently believes everything he says.
I guess to keep himself from going insane, he'd have to because it's so over the top.
Well, I mean, a psychologist would
He,
explain it better, but the way I understand it is compulsive liars. Um, it just they just go with it. They go with their own lies. Like they
like
just continually just like reinforcing the lie in the the more they reinforce the lie, the more they believe it.
I have to agree with you that I think that Trump is actually that way because like I was considering for a moment whether or not he was just like super genius enough to like actually be intelligent but pretend to be the way that he is. But I don't think anyone is that good of an actor.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like because I was wondering for a moment, is it possible that he's like actually intelligent and playing this fucking buffoon or whatever? But like, there's no way that he's actually
no,
that smart, because you can
no.
tell like with all the way his thought processes work. Now, what he is good at, I noticed. I watched back in 2016 when he won the Republican nomination, right before he won the presidency. I First of all, like I think I've explained to you before, I like gave up. I gave up. Politics based like political science at that point, when he got elected to the Republic. I didn't even wait till he got elected as president. When he got elected to the Republican nominee, I just gave up. But I realized that something was going on that I had to pay attention to because I had to figure out like why the fuck were people giving a fuck about him? Why is
Mm,
this like a bad green, Black Mirror fucking episode going on? So I went and watched. I told myself like I would come. I couldn't do like multiple of his fucking performances or whatever, but I watched one 45-minute speech that he did just to see what he was at. I didn't want to just take the sound bites and look at like Fox and CNN and fucking BBC and what everybody like pulled out of it. I wanted to listen to an uninterrupted flow of his thoughts back before, like as he was dealing to become the first time elected. And what what skill that he did have that impressed me out of anything was just that he was able to do the politician art of saying he like spoke for 45 minutes but he didn't say anything.
mm. So
And that's what really, I mean, like obviously he spoke to some of the fucking like, you know if you went on 4chan and made a fucking like uh asked them to make a list of like conservative tropey shit. Of course, he spoke to the tropey shit, right? Like that's a given. But like when you listen to the content of what he was actually saying, the dude talked incessantly for like fucking almost an hour, and he didn't actually like say anything. He was just talking. He wasn't. I don't know. There was no there was no coherent like reason for what was being said. There were just words coming out of him, but it was done in such a way that the people were like hypnotized by it in a way. There was like a hypnosis to it. And while I will freely admit that the dude's a fucking ignorant, narcissistic, fucking bona fide piece of shit, like he did have the ability to do that. Not everybody could, like, I mean, obviously he would still embarrass himself and say dumb shit, but it was on brand. Like for anybody who's like keeping score, it was fucked up, but for him, it was just on brand.
Mm.
and only in America would a fucking quote unquote billionaire be able to talk people into electing him so he can like go after rich people or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck what how the fuck. But yeah, anyway, thank you for giving me that really nuanced fucking like intro and like middle part and like up to date like situation on why the Caribbean culture was so strongly influenced in the UK. That makes a lot of sense all the way around. I think that's a fucking shameful. Yo, what's up, Quintana? Hey, welcome, brother. Quintana, I'm talking with Alienware 421's better half. Uh, her name is Mean Queen Becky. She's super
I'm the
cool.
girl one.
I'm the girl. I was just asking her. She's from the UK, obviously, and she's now a transplant over here in the US. And
I
I was
identify as
just
transatlantic.
transatlantic. Anyway, I was asking her about the fucking reason. I mean, I'm getting ready to write jungle and shit, or I am writing some jungle right now. And so I said, the sound of your people, whatever we start talking about. I said, well, hey, why is the fucking you know Caribbean, Jamaican vibe so strong in the UK? Like, what happened? She gave me the whole rundown from like when it started in the 40s all the way through like the way that they're being treated now. That's pretty cool, very nuanced, interesting situation. I hope has had better fucking ideas and people prevail. I mean, now that you guys have like a fucking British Indian fucking PM or whatever, it seems like things are a little progressive now.
He's unfortunately quite deluded. That I mean,
He's
on
like a rich asshole, right?
yeah, I mean he's been
Is what I understand.
raised to be a tax dodger. His wife doesn't pay her taxes because she's all
Oh,
offshore
cool.
accounts and
So
everything.
they're just like not
He's
in touch with English people whatsoever.
absolutely, he's got no clue what it is to be
Got
a
it.
working class person or anything. I really
It at
think
least
that.
looks good optically, right? That there's a British Indian PM. I mean, optically, it looks like it's progressive, but he's just like a rich asshole.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, what he's showing though is that assholes come in all shapes and colors, and it's just
Oh yeah,
like
they do.
I fully support diversity. I think that, I mean, he
We
like,
should accept assholes of all
I mean, the
creed and
way
color.
his ancestry is very representative of the UK. Okay, so the UK is, it's just like, I've said it before. It is the dumbest thing to be a racist British person
Right?
because there is no such thing as a British person. Like, oh, what?
Yeah. What
Because
does
you're
that mean?
white
What does
that
that mean?
you
That
you
like
think
when
you have
God
more
was
ownership of the
when
UK?
God was creating humans and he put like the first Ing man in England,
Right, exactly. It's
and
like,
like you come from the Ing, you're the original
yeah,
Ing.
it's like I would be, to all racists in the UK, I would be like, okay, show me your DNA line that traces you back to a Stonehenge,
Ing. Yeah, yeah.
like, like,
Where's your
show me that
Ing?
you are from the Stone Age in the UK. Show me that. Oh, sorry, I have a dab. One moment, please.
Yeah, I'm way ahead of you. Take your time. Fucking land of Ing, man.
It's like even the ones that think that they're white and like somehow more English than other people. My skin pigment they says still that I own the state.
I hear Toker.
Yeah, there's still Scandinavian influences, the Germanic influences. Like, it's just all
Oh
bullshit. Like,
sure.
you
Yeah,
cannot turn around and say that you're.
when I asked my mom about my heritage on her side, she told me that we are mostly um like English and Norman, so it's basically like English and Germanic. And then my father's from Scotland, and he's from northeastern Scotland, so I'm sure that like my family heritage probably has something to do with like um the English of old, the fucking Normans coming up from Germany and France, like whatever was going on in the Highlands, the Ing people and all the Scandinavians. the Scandinavians and shit coming in, and then also it seems like somebody like once they took the fucking boat over to the west, somebody like 3 or 4 generations ago like hit up some Native American or some Caribbean or something because like we get tans and look like we're fucking Mexican, but my mother's a Smith, but like when I get a tan I look straight up Mexican,
Mm.
and my father was from Scotland, so that don't make sense because I should just burn red, but I just turn like a golden crispy color, so. Yeah, I don't know. Probably like
Well,
English,
your darker
Norman,
genes are
Scandinavian,
supposed to be
and
more dominant, aren't they?
Some
But
Native
if you
American,
carry it
Caribbean,
from
something in there.
anywhere, you.
So basically a mutt,
Mm.
in general, not like super mudded up. I'm not like South. I don't have South American and Asian and shit like that, but like probably a good mix there in the middle. I
This,
should probably do one of those genetic things, the 23andMe or whatever.
yeah, they are interesting, but it comes up
That'd be
with
kind of neat.
like a whole, you know, mixed bag of all sorts of stuff.
I'd like to
But
do it so that way they can clone me, take my thing and then all of a
harvest my
sudden
good bits.
get a fucking clone. Once they realize how fucking awesome I am, they're gonna make a bunch of clones of me, man. I
Unfortunately,
need a
all the
couple.
clones will be blithering idiots.
Man, I've really been enjoying. Uh, I've really been enjoying the way that plays out, and then the idea of perpetually cloning yourself, the way that's playing out in the Foundation series. So since it covers over 1,000-year story, in order to keep a couple of the characters consistent, they've introduced a few different like tropes to make that happen. So one is that Emperor Cleon, he's on his. There's 3 versions of him at all times. There's the middle-aged one of him that's called Day, and then there's the younger version of him called Dawn, and the older version of him called Night. And so there's always 3 of them, but they're all the same. But they're not like 3 different people. They're the same person, quote unquote. So they have to like kind of keep their shit together. And they're on the 16th, 17th, and 18th incarnations of them right now. And yeah, we're in like middle of season 2, and it's just getting a little testy between the clones. Yeah, it's not. Sometimes one will want more power than the others, and uh, if you have to think about that, if there wasn't just one of you, if you had your live you, and you had like 20 clones, right? But they were all on ice. So like when you die, you would just fire up one of your clones and load your memory back in, right? Um, that's one way that seems to be like, okay, there's not going to be a power struggle there because unless somebody fucking thaws out the other 20 of you, like you're probably numero uno and it's going to be okay. But to have 3 of you alive in different phases of your life at once, you know, it gives you like a little bit of extra oomph because you got 3 different U's to fucking work on anything at any given time. But then you have to deal with like power struggles and what happens like to account for genetic variants where one of them might not be tempered in the same way or whatever. It explores all that really interestingly. Also, apparently their incorruptible genetic line was fucking poisoned by
Corrupted.
some fucking genetic people. Like eight or 9 Cleons ago, they got fucking dirtied, and they actually hide that from the like system that fucking runs all that because they don't want it to be mad at them for having fucking impure lines. It's crazy, crazy shit.
Sucks to be him.
Tucker, I am live right now on Twitch making music, so just letting you know, you came to the situation later.
Oh, okay.
User left your channel. User joined your
I'm
channel.
just fucking with you.
All right, listen, Becky, thank you for giving me that fucking awesome sociological history lesson. You didn't have to do that, and I appreciate that. I'm gonna shut up for a little while and sit here and bang out this music, but I am here in case my moral support is required.
You can do it.
Yeah, I just want to work on this jungle song. It's pretty fun so far.
Is it massive?
I don't know. Okay.
Oh, I just had a great idea.
Oh shit, an epiphany or just a good idea?
Yeah.
Good
So,
one.
now that my kiddo is like, you know, the next birthday is going to be 17.
Yeah.
Why don't, for their birthdays, we recreate one of the themes that they had as a tiny child?
For Ivan?
Yeah.
Well, what kind of themes did they have as a tiny child that you think they would still pick up on? Don't go
Oh.
anywhere lower than like 4 or 5 because it gets really murky back there. It does, man. How many memories do you guys have from when you're 2? I have like 1 or 2.
None.
You know what I mean? That I've been able to hold on to and be like, yeah, I remember that shit happened when I was 2. I have like a couple. You know what I mean? So you're gonna try to give them something that they can actually be sentimental about and not just be like, yeah, whatever. Like you have to go like 4 or 5.
We had a pirate theme, and I think you've just got to the heart of the matter. It's not about them. It's about me wanting a pirate band.
Alright, let's go. I'm all about piracy. I fucking like appreciate it.
They really
Not the
seem
not the
to
killing and robbing,
understand
not the killing and robbing part,
democracy.
but like the not the killing and robbing part, but like the anarchistic kind of,
Yeah, but they
you
they
know, like
they understood that they had to stick it to the man, and you know it was all about the lords and all of that bullshit, and
well,
they wanted to kind of set up their own democracy. They
there's this
had
thing
good
in the Church of
intentions.
Satanism called the Seven Tenets, and I saw this one tenet in there that like makes me think about like piracy and just like life in general. It says, um, blah 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 blah.
But it
Where is
actually
it? Which
says
one is
that.
it? Well, it's
That's
about
deep.
it says blah blah blah. No, it's basically about like don't let a law get in the way of doing the right thing.
Interesting.
Is kind of the idea. That's not what it says here. I thought it said it in the Seven Tenets, but I was reading it the other day. It's like, never let a law get in the way of doing the right thing. And that idea kind of fucking resonates with me really. Because it's kind of like, don't just blindly assume that all the fucking rules are the fucking right way to do things. And, you have to decide for yourself what the fuck is the right thing to do. And sometimes the right thing to do is exactly what they say the wrong thing. And it just depends on the situation and what's fucking actually right. And it might change. And what's right for one thing might not be the same right for another. So like I think, just being aware of that instead of just blindly following some blather that fucking somebody told you was the way things are is probably like at the heart of piracy or Satanism, which is not it's not the Church of Satanism a bad thing. You actually read their tenets, it's pretty reasonable. More honest and upfront way to interact with other human beings than Christianity, in my opinion. Like, listen, here's the seven tenets, and you tell me if each of these that you think would, if it like resonates with like what a pirate's life would be like, or if it is an antithesis of pirate. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail. Oh, that's what it is. Like, yeah, the struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. So justice and what's right isn't the same as, what your society's laws and, regulations are. What's right is what's right, regardless of the laws and institutions. One's body is inviolable, like subject to one's own will alone. So basically saying don't violate other people's body. Period. Don't touch them. Don't poke. Don't put holes in them. Don't disrupt other people's body, and they shouldn't disrupt yours. Basically, the freedom of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own. So basically saying like, don't fucking step on somebody else's fucking toes unless you want yours stepped on. Like everybody has the right to fucking be how they be. Belief should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts into one's beliefs. So don't fit, like, do your measurements and fucking take what the science shows. Don't fucking try to fucking shove the science into your preconceived notion of whatever religion or fucked up shit you're on. People are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might be caused. And then every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. And that's the 7 tenets of the Church of Satan, or the Satanic Temple. So to me, like I said, I think that's a pretty fucking justifiable way to live. And a lot of that resonates with, I think, like the spirit of piracy, which is like, I'm not trying to live along the fucking lines of the way that everybody says the judges are. Like, judges aren't the ruler of my land, fucking, my will. And hopefully, like, if it's I'm sure that there was like pirates out there that were like the Dread Pirate Roberts from fucking whatchamacallit, like the Princess Bride, where they're just like a more righteous and fighting villainy and helping people and fucking taking from fucking rich assholes and helping other people. Like a little bit more of a Robin Hood type of shit. I don't know. I don't like the robbing part so much, though. I'm not really into the whole like taking from other people. I guess that would be.
Oh, they only took from, like the
Yeah, they
so
weren't robbing
they
some
only took
fishermen or
from the
something. They were
common,
taking from like corporations and
yeah,
countries and
it
shit.
was they actually had really, really strong punishments for each other if any of those were caught stealing off each other.
From the pirates.
Yeah, so if a
Against
pirate was caught
pirates.
stealing, I think they literally lost their hand. It was
See,
punishable
so
by
that
death.
kind of has that kind of has that whole thing about like being noble or whatever, like honor among thieves, I guess.
I mean, they were Robin Hoods basically. Well, they started off that way, but then
Boy, the UK was not nice to pirates, dude. I saw like the way that they would
well,
sentence them or whatever. They would basically like fucking
unless it
string them up
suited
and cut
them.
them
So,
up and burn their fucking nuts off or whatever, dude. They just
so
were really mean to pirates.
here's another thing about the UK and their tactics. They actually employed pirates. There's
Oh,
the only
nice.
difference between a pirate and
Oh,
a
a pirate in the
privateer
military is who you're doing it for.
is one had a contract and the other didn't.
With the government, yeah.
So they were both commissioned, well, not commissioned. They were both doing exactly the same thing. So they were told, like intercept the Spanish
Oh, I'm
and
sure if
whatever.
England was in war with France or whatever, like if you're a military vessel that takes over a French fucking blah 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 and takes all their shit and fucks them up and brings it back, you're celebrated. But if you're a pirate that didn't have permission and you're not giving the king his cut, then you're an asshole, right?
No, it's even murkier than that because the British couldn't be seen to, attack the Spanish or whatever was going on at the time because that would
Also,
be
they
an
weren't
act
even
of war.
taking fucking responsibility for it. They were just like, "Oh, that's terrible that happened to you."
Yeah. So they would bribe or commission pirates, give them a contract from the
Oh
king
yeah,
or
go fuck
whatever.
up Spanish shit, but leave ours alone.
Yeah.
Ah, nice. So
But then if
basically,
the
they were just like
pirates did
harassing
it,
other people's fucking trading lanes.
yeah. So if the pirates did it, it was illegal and it was, piracy and stuff because obviously the tax wasn't being paid back on that loot.
Yeah, but then the fucking Spanish fleet's out looking for Sir fucking Toker, and they're like, "Wow, why can Toker just fucking port up in England and not have any problems?"
Exactly.
I see. Well, man, you guys were really just a jolly old fucking country, weren't you?
We'd like you
Well,
to
you don't
think
build
that.
an empire fucking sitting on your ass, do you?
No, you just need a really good PR campaign.
It's
That's
kind of
the
cool though,
UK.
because like you guys actually like fuck the world over harder than anybody ever has,
Yeah,
and you still like make the Romans seem bad and shit, you know?
absolutely.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're like, oh, the Romans were terrible, but yeah, we're great. We're good.
Wait,
We
hang
helped
on a
everybody.
minute though. We were invaded by the Romans, so we
That's
had
true. That's true.
a
That's true.
lot
You
of
had to fuck
Roman.
them up.
We've still got Roman
Hey, you
roads
guys
and
built
shit
that
here.
3-foot wall. It fucked them up. Hadrian's Wall, man, that shit fucking. They conquered the
Look,
known
they were
world, but they
smaller
couldn't
back
get
then.
over that 3-foot wall.
They didn't have the
I
same
fucking
wonderful
love that
vegan diets
Hadrian's
that we
Wall
have
shit.
today. Okay.
Like I tease, but like it was actually pretty effective in some places for a lot of reasons. You know, not like the Great Wall of China or anything, but it did help.
Wheels. Couldn't get the
And,
carts over.
yeah, hindrance, a mild hindrance that provided a slight advantage. Routed them good, didn't we? Fuck, man. I'm gonna write some music for the Wild Bex.
Yeah, you said that ages ago.
Yeah, but then we talk, and I don't think I can really do both too well.
Okay, I'll try not to.
No, you're good. I told you I'm here for moral support. I can also keep the music down a little lower where I can still fucking have thoughts. It's almost like loudness is literally loudness. Like your brain only has so much room for a certain amount of frequency. Like, that's why earmuff mode is so nice in VR chat now. I keep wondering, like, so for me, I'd like Toker and Mrs. Toker's thoughts on this. For me, when I'm in VR chat, if I'm in a room with 80 people, I can be in a room with 80 people and I can have my earmuffs off and I can hear every single fucking person talking and it doesn't bother me. Like I can just be standing there like minding my own business and listening to 80 people talk at once. And I'm just like, whatever. So I'm like listening to the music and it's just like a fucking like psychobabble that's just going by constantly with a little word here. Blah 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 blah. Outside, blah 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 blah, work, blah 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 blah, drink, blah 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 blah, cheers. Like it's just like a psychobabble that's going by and I don't try to focus on any of it at all. I just let it roll by. But I noticed that some people like it doesn't even matter, dude. Like it just overwhelms them intensely, and they just can't deal with it. They fucking are like, nope, immediately leave or can't do it. Or I even had my screen share on, and my buddy Dre on Discord like watched my screen, and he was like, whoa, 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 holy shit, and he like completely disconnected from Discord and wrote me a message. He was like, how the fuck do you listen to that, dude? Like I had to go. I like it like fucked my head up, and it was just like maybe me and some person talking and like 10 people around us that were doing their own thing. And I find that fascinating that like for some people like you guys know me, I'll be in fucking VR chat and in Discord and in TeamSpeak, fucking uh, dealing with all that shit all at once, and it's fine. But like other people, like I said, like just anything more than just a handful of folks, and it's like the brain just shuts down. How do you guys handle it? Like you seem to be okay, even when it gets
Well,
hot.
earmuff mode is what I use. So,
Yeah, keeps some sanity, right?
yep.
Puts all the other voices down to like 0.001 decibels, so it's all just like a very distant chatter.
More or less, yeah.
What about you, Bex?
I didn't do
You
it.
feel
Well,
comfortable being? Well, you teach classes with like tons of students. They all have
yeah,
to be kind of blah 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 blahing all the time.
yeah. I just stop the class and just stare at them until they stop talking.
But at least you're comfortable
It's
like being
really
in a
effective, and
situation
it
where
means I
there's that
don't
much shit.
because I don't believe in shouting at kids. So.
Oh, especially when you're working with them toddlers and shit. What are you gonna be like? Hey, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it doesn't go down too well. It's frowned upon.
Everybody shut the fuck up. We got a recital coming up. You motherfuckers need to get your shit straight. Right.
And also, when you're teaching like lots of classes in a week, you don't want to fuck your voice up anyway. So it's like,
Oh yeah, I can't. Yeah, you
I'll
don't want to
save
like
my
lose your
voice.
voice for sure. Oh, you have to
Yeah.
save it and be real judicial with it. Yeah. Interesting. Oh yeah, because you're not wanting to like fucking yell over everybody all the time. That would suck.
No. But we'd join in, like if the timing is appropriate or they said something interesting,
Yeah.
like
Well, I'm sure you don't want it to be like a fucking library or a church. You know what I mean? Like people can talk.
No, it's a very social environment. So, we'll have a little chat, because we'll go off tangent and I'll be like, oh, no, okay, right, we've got to move on now.
Are your students like clicky, or does ever like there's not like
They
one
don't
circle
seem
all the
to
time,
be.
right?
No, I mean, they all seem to get along. Like, um, I haven't seen any sort of like bullying or bitchiness
Oh, when I say
yet.
clicky, I don't necessarily mean it in like a way where it's like, oh, us and them or whatever. I just mean do they naturally fall into like little groups that like they're people that they're kicking it with and interested in.
I mean, I don't know too much about what goes on while I'm teaching and they're out in the, in the corridors, other than the tea that they spill, because obviously they like a
Oh,
good
I just
gossip.
mean like while you're teaching, or what do you do? Just like line them up in some arbitrary fucking fashion and not give a fuck?
Well, here's the thing.
What I mean is like you have like what, like 10 or 20 people physiologically located in space in front of you. Do they naturally like gravitate to like little clicky groups of people, or do you like tell
I
them
mean,
where
yeah,
the fuck
there's
to
little
go and they just go
friendship
there?
groups, but I
Yeah.
haven't kind of mapped it all out because um of my face recognizing thing.
Is that
So
a real
half the
fucking thing?
time,
You don't even
you
know.
know, I think that three kids is the same person. Like I.
Dude, is that that's a real thing that you have to deal with? I mean, I've heard you talk about it before, but that fucks me up, dude. So like your brain just like, so what do you recognize them by their voice? That help?
Well, not when you're in a foreign country and everyone sounds like with the
Oh
new
shit.
accent, right?
Oh
So
shit.
I try and go for certain people. I need them to stand next to each other, or if there's the same couple of kids that I keep getting mixed up in a class, I like on the sly will look at both of them before I decide which is the name of the one that I want to talk to. That seems to be working quite well.
Holy shit, you have to put a lot of extra energy into this all day long.
I have sisters in different classes, right? And there's a few of them.
They help you out.
No, no, no. What happens is, even though they could be like 3 or 2 years apart in age to their sister, so you would think that one clearly looks a lot older, is
Oh no.
taller, you know. I
Well, that's easy.
still,
That's anybody
unless
would
they're
make that
next to
mistake.
each other.
It doesn't matter if you have that face issue or not. Like that's easy to happen for
Yeah,
anybody.
but that's a name recall thing. I genuinely don't know which one it is.
I think they
Like they
forgive you though
look
for
the
that.
same. Like they I'm like, you're exactly the same as your sister. And then I'll see them walking home, like going to leave the building together. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? They don't look, clearly they look different.
Oh. Oh, so your brain just fucks it up. Interesting. Well, I mean, I do believe that like what we see, is just obviously it's just our optical nerves and our brain fucking like interpretation of whatever the fucking stuff is out there. And certainly, so like we're building that hallucination, and certainly I think we can set up our gear in such a way where you might have to deal with some shit like what you're describing, where it fucks off on certain categorizations. Interesting point about the voices, though. I didn't think about that. Like, since it's not your culture, it's not so easy to like separate it. Well, there's not much else. Like hearing and seeing is the only things you can really do. I mean, I guess you could tell them by smell if one of them just had really bad hygiene.
Definitely not taste.
Nope, taste and touch a little off, but but it's fucking stupid.
I learn people's personalities and their vibe though, like really, really well. I guess because like when they say when one thing kind of is weaker, other things can be stronger. So, like I recognize people and I recognize my students and shit from, like, I don't know, like,
Their personality.
yeah,
That's interesting. I have the opposite thing of what you're describing, though. So you say like you confuse people's faces and this and that. I have the opposite thing, right? So like I know what you look like. I know what Toker and Effie and Sharpie look like. So now, like if I was just like say like fast forward like 5 years now, and we're all still homies or whatever. We're all doing whatever we're doing all over planet, and like, Toker just happens to be in fucking St. Louis, right? Going to some show with Sharpie or whatever, and I'm fucking like flying through or whatever. If I see one of those motherfuckers, if I see the side of one of their heads from like 500 feet away, I'll still be like, God damn, was that fucking Tucker over there? Like, like for me, like I can just see the outline of your fucking head or whatever, and I'll be like, that looks like my friend. I have the opposite of what you do.
I've legit had people text me like, "Are you in blah today?" And it's just like, no,
No,
sitting in my chair at home.
that's funny. You got
I've
doppelgangers
driven
out there.
past him how many times, like on the way to work or whatever, and not seen him.
I'm sitting there waving like an idiot at her.
Yeah, I just
Dude,
don't see.
I think, have you guys ever met any of your doppelgangers? I met one of my doppelgangers one time when I was like fucking 11 or 12 years old. Fucking like freaked me out, man. Like there are people out on the planet that like look just like you.
Nope, because I wouldn't recognize me.
Interesting. That's a good point. You make a very good point.
By her
Although you have seen you more than anybody else, right?
I
Especially since you work in dance and you have mirrors.
yeah,
And shit.
obviously, in theory, my face is the one I know the best, kind of.
It's kind of fun. I never thought about that, but like since you work in dance, dance is probably like one of the only. Dance is probably one of the only professions that like absolutely has fucking mirrors all the time.
Yeah.
What other profession has mirrors all the time? Makeup artist.
But
A
I do
makeup
things
artist.
like if
Oh,
I look at myself
hair
in the
care.
mirror.
Anybody that does like physical work for somebody, I guess, like makeup and hair care and dancing.
If I look at
Can't think.
myself and like face on,
Mhm.
and then I'll see myself like side on.
Yeah.
And I struggle to understand how that's the same face. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, if it looks like that from that angle, that doesn't look like it's going to match up with the front.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Looking at yourself is always weird. Mirrors are weird.
And I have not recognized myself in photos, and I have thought I was someone else in photos.
Wow, okay.
Like, just momentarily usually though, because then I'm just like, oh, I'm not sure. Because like, you
I wonder
think
if there's any like.
being there.
I wonder if there's any like practice that you can do that can help you alleviate that, like build that skill. That's a skill that you refine instead of like acquiescing to have it fucking just fuck you over like that. I wonder if there's like some repetitive thing you can do or whatever that like is designed to help that. So I have to imagine that you can like reprogram yourself a little bit on that one.
Probably. I mean,
do you find that it bothers you that you can't? Like, the important part is, does it bother you that you can't recognize faces, or is that just like you're just like fuck it up here?
It doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers other people because if I'm having
because they feel offended or whatever,
with the wrong person, or I walk past somebody because I don't recognize them and they're like, because I'm just like not paying attention to faces. So there could be something to do with how unimportant to me faces are.
How have you ever spoken with anybody else that has this thing?
Not in real life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anywhere.
Like I've
in a
seen
forum.
people talking about that. I've seen like
yeah, but did you speak with them about it?
Documentaries and stuff. No.
Oh yeah. See, I was wondering, like, it'd be interesting to see like how different people that have that like try to cope with it.
Yeah, mine doesn't sound that bad. Like it, the ones I've heard about, they can't even get it to click eventually. Whereas I can kind of like really struggle or but if I was with somebody for a long time, then like I'll get it, I'll get it eventually. Whereas it seems like some people just can't talk, like, they're constantly like, they'll go to like the supermarket with their spouse and lose them, and they're like right there.
Oh shit.
I just have like a fun, playful version, in terms of severity.
Gotcha.
it makes for like a fun conversation, but like it
Would
also
you
makes you
eventually have to
quirky.
explain it to people so that they don't get mad at you?
I think I've explained it to like maybe 2 people and then just not again, because I'm just
You're
like,
just like, fuck it, I'm
yeah, it
over it.
just sounds like excuses. And also it's just like, again, I'm required to have the social IQ at that moment in time to like
Right.
not come across as just info dumping or just talking at them and they're just staring at you like, weirdo, okay, all right.
Jesus. Beats in a.
Oh, and as far as my
It's
students
fine.
are like go, I do sort of say to them, you know, just the basic. Oh, I'm just a bit bad with names and faces, but I'll know who you are. You know, like I'll know who you are from
Gotcha.
your behavior and your personality, even if it takes me a while to remember your name.
Yeah, I'll probably just leave that last little bit off.
Can't believe that, man.
Which one?
Every year, 90 million flip-flops end up on beaches.
19 million?
90 million.
90 million. Man, that's like, it's
Yeah.
almost like, that's good for flip flop producers. It's like a consumable product at this point.
Yeah, but then what happens? Then the dolphins choke on the dolls or something.
I mean, maybe they'll start evolving
Dolphins
because
get
of it.
straws stuck up their
Get feet.
bums.
They'll end up on their fins, and then they'll come on land, and they'll be walking around in fucking sandals and shit. And next thing you know, you got fucking dolphin feet.
Fucking dolphins
Fast
were
forward 200 million years.
odd
Bam.
flip-flops on their flippers. Flip-flops on their flippers.
Flip flop. Flipper flops. Flipper flops. Oh,
Nice. Look at that picture I sent you.
me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, whoops. I'm an idiot. Holy shit. Just overhit something I didn't mean to. Let me look at this picture. Is it safe for work?
Yes, there's no penises or nips.
Also, I'm gonna send you something back that I made today. Working on my buddy's oh, flip up, yeah. You just make those?
Yeah.
You're awesome. I just made this. I'm working on my buddy's logo. That's not gonna be his logo, but I just fucking around. Like some shit I made and then putting it into photo mosh and doing some other stuff. Cool.
Noise. Best I can do is dolphins wearing flip flops.
Hey, they're fucking beautiful. Those are great. That's fucking perfect. Look at that. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like they just get out of the water and they're like, oh, this is actually kind of comfortable. Susan, try these on.
Not the Birkenstocks.
I like the second one. I like the second one where he's like, look, I can get some serious air in these things.
Right. He doesn't quite
Those
know
are the
how to wear
Jordans.
them.
Those are the Jordans. The Jordan sandals. It's like, look at me. Dolphins can dunk.
I had to do quite a few variations to get there in the end.
Yo, if
ChatGPT
you
was
look at like
really
the way that
confused.
if you look at the way that they jump out of the water, man, dolphins actually are quite acrobatic. I bet they fuck some shit up.
Oh yeah.
When dolphins become like bipedal, we're gonna have issues, man. They're gonna kick our asses.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine like going to the office and you gotta work with your, dolphin fucking IT support guy, Steve?
Oh, not Steve.
I wish I could make. I wish I could make. Have you seen humans that can make the dolphin sound? It's so weird.
They're all
So
like
weird.
echolocation though, right?
I don't know.
Are
I
they?
mean, not the humans. The dolphins, yeah, that's why they do the do the dolphin sound. Is so weird. Anyway, thank you for that. That's beautiful.
That's my gift.
I
You.
just fucked up. I just fucked up. I need to go where this is. Find the other base. Whoa. Oh.
Okay, I know I'm not talking random.
What are you talking about? Still drying.
Apparently. Sleeping at bedtime.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And then I woke up at like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Like me today.
Oh, hey, so we just the new math demonologist last night.
So I was like, is anybody still awake?
Like, oh.
I just woke up and missed you guys.
Well, you were pleased to know that we still haven't managed to exercise.
Really?
By the way, Sharpie, Kuva went and pulled a U.
What did you do?
Walked into that room and...
Oh, no.
He's like, wait, is this the room? It's like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. We sent all the maps through, we coordinated the watches.
Hey, please do it. So in my defense, man, that first one looks so safe. That's the one. Because I looked at the diagram. This way.
Yeah, we have a strange system. Oh, that's a shame. This is not
Huh? Are we playing? Are we doing games?
See? Told you.
I ain't stopping y'all. You looking at me?
Nice. Do you want to join us on some Ghost
I'm
Huntings?
currently writing some jungle, brother. What is it?
In jungle.
What are you getting?
Demonologist.
Gone.
No, nothing to you. Appreciate the invite, though. That's very kind of you.
We both probably around this. Wait, am I supposed to be? No, I'm not supposed to be. details. I'm gonna go get my lunch,
Mhm.
and then.
I wonder what this sounds like in like a half step.
I will, but this guy's
Tune.
just buffing out some car repair. It's like my monitor. Yeesh.
Shit all sounds wild with the new processor in the red.
All right, Becky. We need more peoples.
I would like to try that. Sharpie, I would like to try that prop hunt game with you guys sometime because I've never been able to play a prop hunt game yet in my life, and it seems like that one might be fun. So next time we have like, what is it, the four of us, and then how many people do we need? 6 total, like 3-on-3 or something,
I
or is it
think
better
so.
with 4 and
Yeah.
4?
I think it's 3.
Yeah, I'd like to try it sometime because like I feel like that's a fun fucking thing to do, but I've just never gotten to do it. I've just watched people do it on YouTube, and it looks amazing, hilarious, especially with our group of people. Becky's like, oh, he would never be the Bible. Not that
We
Bible
just
one.
have to get our group of people on there.
Yeah, I'm down. Maybe we can get some goons to supplement and come in. I noticed you've been over in the goons quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're good people.
it's fun.
These all delicious.
You.
D? Are all these in D? It's D, that's D.
It's like, why did I
Oh,
write in D?
like that's it. Nope, nope, that's an E. D, D, E, D sharp. Interesting. How pleasant. They're all like a semitone off from each other, so. So what do we got here? E minor, E minor, E minor. There we go.
Okay, shitheads, I'm back.
Oof.
No food delivered.
What's happening, people?
I think y'all going playing some demonology, aren't you?
Who am I going to hide behind? And is that what Sharpie wants to do?
I wouldn't do anything. I'm here for food.
This is what gets you into trouble. You realise that, don't you? It's that attitude right there. You can take a photo through the door during
demon through a door.
Look, you know that when it's
Yeah, see.
Yeah. patch. You know. If you haven't,
But you can't hide it in being around it.
no, but you're outside the house.
Listen, we didn't have this conversation. Any coffee and the burrito.
It's literally my morning. A coffee, a dab, and a burrito.
Alright, I'm just gonna play this song that I'm working on that I'm getting ready to make a music video for this weekend, and then I'm gonna fucking end the stream. I can just chill with my people. Okay.
Okay, people, don't judge me. I'm trying to make the situation, but I don't remember watching The Shawshank Redemption ever.
Really?
Mm.
Pretty decent one. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie.
Isn't it like one of the
It's a classic.
fucking best movies? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cult. It's a cult classic. It's a goodie. I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times, 5 times. Definitely worth a watch. Not too shabby.
We rewatched Good Will Hunting the other day.
I like that one a lot. Yeah,
Great.
I like that one. I also I recommend it to you in the same class category. A really rather unknown film from Mel Gibson called Man Without a Face. A Man Without a Face.
Sounds familiar. I
Really?
think if you rented it from Blockbuster on VHS.
If you did, that'd be awesome. I really enjoyed it. Not a lot of people
Well, Mel
seem to know about
Gibson
it.
is very popular in the UK in the 90s and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you think like when you were growing up, like you guys might have rented it and watched it. He's like a tutor to a kid that doesn't have like a dad or something, and then like he's got like a fucked up face. Do you remember it? He helps out that kid a lot, but then like the city kind of like they like try to make him out as a pedo or some shit, but he was really just helping the kid fucking be an awesome kid.
Where'd he go?
Like that.
Probably launched Demonologist and broke fucking his internet.
Broke everything.
This new song is called. Well, I'll just let him say it for himself.
Called it fucking Windrush.
Well, it's a
That's what we were
Windrush.
talking about for most of it.
Windrush. No, this isn't. It's not an original. It's a remix that I did, so I don't get to pick the name of the song.
Per square inch and gets $40, including the $5 tip. How big was the dick she just saw? Say how big was the dick she just saw? You a nigga with a watch that's iced out with enough rocks to make the hottest room temperature drop. How long will it take you to get raw? How long will it be before you get raw? Now if your song played on the radio for the first time 4 days ago, now the shit is rotational. Who got paid off $100,000 automobile. I know the vehicle was probably beautiful, but did you ask your lawyer if it was recoupable? It's niggonology. Designated driver to smoke a pound of marijuana. How the hell you gonna get home? Say how the fuck you gonna drive yourself home? You got a mansion, a Benz, a Bentley and a range, and ain't none of that shit in your government name. What pieces of property do you own? What pieces of property do you really own? Now if you take a glass of water, then add 2 cubes of ice, you should see the cup's water level slightly rise, right? You need to watch what I'ma show. Watch this. You need to look closely at what I'ma show you. If you remove every living animal out of the sea, then wouldn't the world's ocean water level decrease? This means the planet was 3/4 water. This means the planet was 3/4 water. It's niggonology.
Hey, I've been sitting here trying to think of what we can do with this here letter L.
Got a show tomorrow, family, at 9 p.m. CST. Otherwise, I might stream some music a little later today. It has been a pleasure. Quintana, thanks for sitting chilling. I've learned a few things from Nikki's history, social lessons that I first found. I'm gonna ride my boy Fricked
So say goodbye to the nice people at home.
I thought he was only streaming for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, but it's nice.
What? I've been on for an hour and 42 minutes, brother.
Oh, shit, dude.
Time does not affect us the same way it affects us.
Raiding into Fricked Up. And just gonna be chilling with y'all now and play some video games and shit.